with Big D and Bubba.
Are you pumped, Bubba?
Yes.
Clay Walker.
Clay Walker.
Is that Clay? That looks like a Clay Walker to me. Hello,
Is Clay Walker. Are you Clay Walker?
Indeed.
Oh, he's here.
We got a big show with our guest this week, Clay Walker. Walker is our guest this week. Hello, sir.
What's it to you?
What's it to you?
To you.
What's it to you? I was forgetting that Clay is better. You're the best looking country artist maybe in the history of country.
Oh my God!
I know. You see, and then you got to do
The
that.
aw shucks.
The aw
thing,
shuck
yeah.
thing.
No. I get your second opinion. Tim McGraw, man. Tim McGraw's best looking.
All right,
You
you know,
think
you're
so?
the second best looking
I'm
person.
the second best, maybe third.
You know, now we're thinking about it. You may not make the list. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of what's it to you, can you give it? What's a good song about what's it to you?
A good story about
A good
it?
story about it.
Oh man, there was one. It was so funny. My dad went to a feed store, and there were, my song came on the radio inside the feed store, and it had just come out, and so the guy behind the counter was like, my dad said, "That's my son," and he goes, "Really?" He goes, "What's the name of the song?" He goes, "What's it to you?" And
I think we see where this is going.
yeah,
Who's on first?
yeah.
From 1993, a number one, Mr. Clay Walker. What's it to you on Honky Tonkin? Clay Walker is our in-studio guest this week. Love Clay. Hey, I know you've been singing since what, 15? Is it 15 when you went and took your song to a radio station, just walked in?
Yeah.
I love
You
that
did
story.
that like Loretta?
I did, man. It was crazy. I just, the poor DJ,
Oh, sorry.
poor DJ. It was like the poor DJ. It was like 3 a.m, and I was working the graveyard shift, and I knocked on the door, kept knocking on the windows. I was just trying to get somebody to answer, and he finally comes to the door, and yeah, man, his name was Gary Hayes. It's crazy. I still remember, and he goes, "What do you want?" I'm sitting there with this reel-to-reel in my hands,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah. And I said, "I've got this. It's like tape, like real tape."
Yeah.
And I was like, I wrote this song and was hoping you'd listen to it. And so he let me go in the studio, and it's crazy because he and little Jimmy, who actually works for Clear Channel now, we've discussed this story. He was there as well. It is in Beaumont, Texas, KAYD.
Uh-huh.
And they played it, and they said, "Man, it's a really good song, but we can't, we can't play it on the air because we're a reporting station." And I left, and they played it anyway. And
Nice.
man, it sealed the deal.
What song was
Yeah,
it?
what was it?
It was a song. It's crazy you asked this. My daughter asked me this last night. It's a song I had written called "Lady with a Golden Heart,"
Okay.
and it was really popular, around Beaumont area, and actually won a contest with it and got trip to Cancun and
at
all
you.
these things. So it was
At
like,
15? Going
Yeah.
to Cancun? Nice.
That's not a good sign, is it? Go to Cancun.
Told him I was 18.
Clay Walker joining us in the studio with all these 6 number ones, and a song that I can't believe didn't. Then what? It's one of my favorite Clay songs, and it went to number 2. What?
Who blocked you?
Who blocked
Who
you?
who do we call?
We're taking somebody's
Taking the
knees
knee
out.
Yeah.
Well, back then we had the chart, the R&R chart.
Yeah.
If you remember
Radio
that.
and records.
Yeah, and then you have Billboard chart. But I think most of those songs did go 1 on R&R. So I think there were 6 on Billboard and then 11 total on R&R. But then what was so crazy, because John Vesner, who's married to Kathy Mattea, wrote this song, and I was doing a show up in Minnesota, and he played it for me on the bus. And it was just kind of folky. And I said, John, can I have some creative liberty with this thing, And I said, I hear it like a Jimmy Buffett song. And he's like, because I don't hear that. And I go, well, I'm going to go in the studio. He goes, let me do a demo. I said, no, do not do a demo. Took it into James Stroud. I said, I want steel drums on this. And James Stroud said, there's no steel drums in country music. I said, well, there is now. And so it's crazy because after that song had come out, Kenny Chesney was on the road with us. He was opening up for us. And, he gives a lot of credit, to that song, inspiring him to want to do the stuff
Sure.
he did. So
Yeah.
it's flattering. But the song is still so much fun, and it says "kick you in the butt," and every kid loves that line. The little kids
Yeah.
love singing that line. To this day, they show up at the concerts and with their moms, and moms are just shaking their head. Like, I led them into temptation.
Yeah, that's right. Clay Walker is joining us in the studio this week, and can we talk about the move, Texas, Tennessee, full time? You're a full time farmer. Like you got look at you. You do it all. Country superstar and farmer.
Are you really? I mean, you have a legit farm?
Yeah, we have a legit farm here, and mainly vegetables, good healthy stuff. And then we got our working cattle ranch in Texas and our lodge there. And so we split time in between Texas and Tennessee. But it's, having MS, just makes me want to be more healthy, and so we do it. We love it.
So you're eating like the food that you're growing, that you know where it came from. You know nothing's been sprayed on it.
That's right.
It's important.
Yeah, we don't use any pesticides or anything. So, and then the beef cattle are all grass fed, and we don't use any hormones or any kind of medicines on them, just natural. So it's to each his own. But when you have MS, man, you got to do everything you can to give yourself the leg up.
Clay Walker is our guest this week. We're coming back more with Clay Walker. Clay Walker in the studio with us. And Clay, I was just handed a note.
A note.
This note has a date on it.
Write this down.
This says October 2006. Do you know what happened October 2006? I'll tell you. You came in our studio then, and you performed what Bubba and I still to this day say is the best in-studio performance by anyone ever.
It's considered our gold standard. Yeah.
People ask us, who's the best person? What's the best with Clay Walker? They're like, really? Which one?
It was 2 days after. I think it was 2 days after Freddie Fender had passed away. Oh. And you came in here and you did a tribute because you had just recorded Before the Next Teardrop Falls with Freddie for one of your albums. And you were like, you came in and you're like, hey, look, I know it's my turn to be here on the radio, but one of my heroes, Freddie Fender, just passed away. Can I please sing one of his songs? We're like, yeah, because I love Freddie Fender as well.
Greatest moment of my life, I think, in music was he came to Nashville and we recorded Before the Next Teardrop Falls, and he walked into the studio, and you could just see the look of awe, on all the musicians. And we were talking about, Brent Mason, Stuart Duncan, the greats are all in the studio. And he walked in, and you knew you were looking at a legend,
Yeah.
But he walks over to me, and before he says anything, he goes, hey, can I talk to you a minute? And so we walk over to one of the private studios. We walked in there, and he goes, hey, I want to tell you this. He goes, I agreed to do this, for a couple of reasons. He said, one is, I know you have MS, and he goes, and I'm dealing with cancer. And he goes, I want you to know that this is not just another song to me. He said, this song is a piece of my heart, and I'm leaving it with you.
Wow.
So let that sink in a minute, no pressure. But it was surreal. We sang on the same microphone in the studio together. We recorded it live.
Like the way they used to do.
Yeah, like the way you used to do it. So
wow.
All that's me and him right there live.
Would you like to hear your performance?
Yeah, I haven't heard it since then.
Yeah.
From 2006.
Please.
Okay, here we go.
If he brings you happiness, then I wish you both the best. It's your happiness that matters most of all. But if he ever breaks your heart, if the teardrops ever start, I'll be there before the next teardrop falls. Si te quiere de verdad y te da felicidad, te deseo lo más bueno para los dos. Pero si te hace llorar, a mí me puedes hablar y estaré contigo cuando triste estás. and I'll be there anytime you need me by your side to drive away every teardrop that you cry. And if he ever leaves you blue, just remember I love you, and I'll be there before the next teardrop falls. Yes, I'll be there before the next teardrop falls.
How amazing was that? I got goosebumps, man.
Me too. It's all
Sitting
over
there
again.
listening to that, I'm like,
me too.
I almost cried.
I don't
I've
know.
never heard that.
It was it was an amazing moment then, and it was an amazing moment now. I'm glad we got to share it with everybody because, again, the legend of Freddie Fender lives on, and I love that he left it in your hands.
Man, I take that seriously. Wow. Ooh. I had chill bumps. I'm not talking about my singing. It's just the emotion that's there.
Oh yeah,
It's like
There's something.
It was because I think the emotion was so fresh, so raw. It had just happened, and the passing of a legend, of a country music friend, somebody that we invested so much of our hearts into. It was big. It was big for us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you for bringing that to light. I'd love to get a copy of that before I leave.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Clay Walker is our guest. We'll come back more with Clay on the way. Clay Walker is our guest this week. I have to tell you, I saw when you started getting on TikTok, and you're like a 14-year-old girl.
What are you?
Wait a second. Wait, 14-year-olds now. Where do you get girl?
You love it. You secretly love it.
I do love it. You know why? Because early on in my career, we used to have what was called your newsletter that you put out once a month. The fan club.
Yeah.
And I just like, how can we get direct access to these fans? I love the fans. I want to be like personable.
Yeah.
And now, man, I'm just like ODing on it.
Yeah, you're more than plugged in. It's the access that we have now to our musical heroes is crazy.
I laughed when there was one you said, you're like, you're not gonna believe this. A guy came up to me and goes, "Hey, are you Clay Walker?" And you're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh, I see you on TikTok." Wasn't even a way.
It was a girl.
It was a girl. Okay.
So
okay.
I was going to visit my dad's grave in Beaumont, Texas. And so I stopped at this place called Pine Tree Lodge that we used to always go in. And so I go in there, and so it's packed. I'm talking about to the gills packed. And it's during COVID. But it's packed to the gills. And, I mean, there's 1,000 people there. And so I walk up, and I'm waiting to get seated. I'm with my godfather and cousin. And so we're getting ready to go in. This girl comes up to me. I saw this table of girls, and they're in their 20s, early 20s. And they kept staring at me. I'm like, I think they might recognize me. And so the one girl comes over, and she goes, we think we recognize you. Are you Clay Walker? I said, yeah. And I said, and she goes, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm from here. And she goes, are you kidding me? I go, no. I said, how do you know me? She goes, TikTok. Wow. Not even through my music.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa.
Well, I know. It's crazy.
I was like, okay, I think we're getting somewhere with this.
That's right.
Clay Walker,
But I was
the
one of the first.
TikToker.
I was one of the first TikTokers, and it was so cool to see how it grew, And then I thought they were going to shut it down. I was like, oh,
No.
man, come on,
It's fun.
Yeah.
Clay Walker joining us in the studio. A song I want to talk to you about is a song that Adele redid called "Rumor Has It." No, she didn't really. She did. Do you even know that?
I do know it. And when I wrote the song, our version, "Rumor Has It," or not our version, but our song, I was concerned about Reba, because she had
Oh, right.
Rumor Has It, and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and so but it had nothing to do with her song, But it took about 30 minutes to write the song. It normally takes me about 30, months, to get one. But
legal.
Yeah, Rumor Has It was just it just fell out, man. We open our shows with it, and it's crazy hearing people scream it that loud. it's hard to tell what song they're singing louder, that one, or if I can make 11 out of 11 you. But it's just crazy.
For number one, for the one and only Mr. Clay Walker on Honky Tonkin. Clay Walker is our guest this week. Hey, touring, you're out on the roads, you're doing stuff, you got Opry stuff, you're doing all kinds of dates. Good for you, man. Are you, at some point, will you ever be like, I can't. Can y'all just FaceTime me? Can we do?
Can we do a hologram?
I can't speak for other entertainers, but for me, it's the endorphins that come from performing. Being there.
Yeah.
The just that feeling and connection between people, and that it's always been that way for me. Is how do I connect with all these beautiful people in front of me?
Yeah.
And so, I live for that. I it doesn't matter how much money I ever have or
You're not doing it for the money.
No, and I don't think anybody does it. If I had to guess it, I don't think anybody does it for the money. Not even Garth. I think
All dudes got in it for the girls. In the beginning, it was all to impress a girl. Usually, it's a very specific one.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is true.
I see
This
it
is
in your
true.
eyes.
And most of the time, she doesn't even like you.
And she still doesn't.
Till she hears you on the radio.
How do you like me
now?
now?
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. But seriously, I can never imagine myself not doing it. That's why when I see guys and Tony Bennett into his 90s.
Yes.
And he sang really good in his 90s.
Yes, I've seen him many times.
I saw him when it was one of his final shows, like the year before he passed. He was singing a cappella, "Fly Me to the Moon." I'm like, dude, this is amazing.
Yeah.
He filled the entire place.
So I constantly work on it. I constantly work on the singing piece of it. And, and it's nice to hear the transformation of my voice when I was younger to where it is now. And I can hear that it's better, And,
Sure, yep.
But it takes work.
It does. Tour schedule and all that, you can check it out on his website, claywalker.com. Clay Walker is our guest this week. So, Clay, this is part of the show where we call it the dealer's choice. It's where you get to request any song you want. It could be yours or someone else's, and tell us why.
Well, it's an easy one for me. I've always been a huge Keith Whitley fan. And there's a song that he did called Miami, Miami, and it's got just the most unbelievable chord that's played right after the first chorus and going into the second verse, and it's so just crazy. Brent Rowan played it, and so I love every word of it. Love his voice, and there's something about that melody that just really gets me.
Well, how about it then? Some Keith Whitley from Clay Walker requested music. It's Honky Tonkin with Big D and Bubba. Clay Walker, our guest this week. Hey, talk to us about, was it 96, 97 with MS when you were like, I think you were playing basketball or something you told us once.
Yeah, I was diagnosed in April 1st.
Oh, no.
No.
But I had these symptoms that were kind of crazy, and couldn't feel my fingertips or I was falling down like I was drunk or something. Just had double vision on this. It was crazy, and then got diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, and been dealing with that ever since. So almost 30 years.
Yeah, Foundation is helping you. You do a lot for MS and research.
Yep, I do. There's a lot of people that live with the disease, and it's just really, really tough on them. It just kind of destroys their bodies, and I feel for those people, and I've struggled the last couple of years, but up until that point, not really much struggle. But last couple of years, it's affected my gait, but I'm pushing back against it, and I'm going to win.
Going to win. Love that. Clay,
sure.
Clay Walker is our guest. We'll come back more with Clay on the way. Clay Walker is our guest this week. So it was yet another number one song for Clay, Dream with My Eyes Open. Talk to us about the song, because it sounds different on the radio than any other song.
Yeah. So the first time I heard the song, I'd gotten signed to Giant Records. James Stroud had signed me, and so it was going to be the first song that I was going to record, and we were going to do it in L.A. because it was going to be on the soundtrack for A Thing Called Love, which Rivers Phoenix was starring in. And so they flew me to L.A., and I'd never been in a studio before, ever. And the song sounded so different for me. Now, I thought I was going to be a George Strait type, going to get to go in there and do Amarillo by Morning, or something. And so this song was so different sounding. And so I remember asking one of the other artists if I could trade songs with them. And so I got in the studio, and James Stroud said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, I just feel like this other song's going to fit me. He goes, "I gave you the best song on the entire record." He goes, "It's written by Tony Arata, who wrote The Dance for Garth Brooks, And so I recorded, and it was, I couldn't believe the magic. And to this day, when I sing that song, every single night, it evolves in a different way every night. So praise God for James Stroud and having that vision for that song for me.
Do you remember what the other song was?
I can't say it. No, but neither would you.
Clay Walker is our guest this week. I was when you were coming in, I was like, golly, wouldn't it be great if Clay comes in and goes, "Hey, boys, y'all want to prank call Chestnut?" And I'll be like, yes, sure would.
Let's do it.
Are we going to right now? Yes.
Do you
Yes.
have his phone number?
Do you have his phone number?
Well, yeah.
Well, then let's do it.
Let me just see.
Now, what can we call him? And you can just be like,
I don't know that he'll answer.
Okay, well,
He
hold on.
sleeps till
Don't call
like
yet.
okay, don't call yet. Hang on a second.
We're gonna put you on our Bluetooth.
You might not answer them.
Yo,
Nut.
hey man,
Hey, you're on with me and Big D and Bubba.
What's up, Mark?
hey, what in the hell y'all doing, boy?
Well, we were going to call, and I thought it'd be a great thing if Clay was like, "Hey, I got a flat tire. Will you come help me?"
Okay.
So how's the greatest singer out of the state of Texas doing, man?
Well, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm fixing to go to the airport.
I love you guys so much. There needs to be
A follow around TV show with you guys.
I would watch that. Absolutely.
No, you wouldn't. It'd be pretty boring on my part.
Well, we just wanted to check in. He's on the show this week. We just wanted to call and say hey. And
Big D, I used to go watch this guy sing out at Cutter's.
Oh, yeah?
And
Oh,
wow.
I'd go with my dad. I was a couple of years younger than Mark. I love saying that.
Yeah.
But no, only a couple.
Well,
only a couple.
most people can. Most people can say that nowadays.
No.
It seems like I kept getting older and everybody else stopped.
That ain't right. That ain't true. But I got to tell you, man, he would sing and I'd have chill bumps the whole
my
time,
God.
right?
I mean,
right?
dude, come
and,
on.
And dude, this guy can do a Hank Williams Sr. that would literally raise the hair on the back of your neck, like when he does "I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry."
Wow.
But besides that, every song he's ever sang was great. But he inspired me, Tracy Bird, everybody else in that whole area trying to. But Mark did it, man. Like it was. Everybody knew he was going to be something special.
Oh my gosh, it's an honor. Mark, sounds like you're headed out to go do another show or something.
Yeah, man, I'm on the way to the airport and gonna go. I gotta fly up to DC and do a show up there for the Texas delegates. And so yeah, I'm gonna go up there and hang around with some I don't know whatever delegates do.
They delegate.
I'm gonna be anyway. They're paying me to come sing for an hour, so I was off today, so I figured I'd just go up there and holler at them.
Well, have
that's the
fun
best.
delegating.
Thank you, Mark.
Mark,
Yeah.
right.
I'm gonna have a lot of fun getting paid to go watch them delegate, and I'm gonna get my ass back to Texas.
The one and only Mark Chestnut. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, baby.
See you, man.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.
Later, bye.
Clay Walker is our guest this week. Hey, talk to us about yet another number one for you, and Live Until I Die.
Well, that's a song I wrote by myself, and I think I was 17, about
You wrote this when you were 17?
about 13 years ago. And
No, really. You were 17 when you wrote this.
yes, I
Wow.
was, and it was, I wrote it for Randy Travis. Like I thought, man, if I could just pitch this song to Randy Travis, it could be a hit. but I ended up having to record it.
Yeah.
But when it went number one, like I got a check in the mailbox. So I want you to understand, like my career had been going, and when you first start out, you're not making any money. You got your road expenses eat up your whole check. Every show.
Yeah.
So you make $5,000 and you got $5,700 in expenses.
Right.
And so at any rate, I'd gotten home and I went to my mailbox, checked my mailbox, and I pulled it out and I opened it. And I had to look behind me to make sure I wasn't going to get hit in the head or something, because I couldn't believe it. So, I called our business office and I said, I think there's been a mistake.
Oh, wow.
And they said, why? And so I told them how much the check was for. And they go, no, that's just part of it.
Part of it.
What?
Wow.
And so I bought my grandma a house.
Oh, did you?
Because I wrote the song for her.
With part of the song. Or
That's
with all
the
of it.
best.
Yeah.
Dude, that's great, man.
Clay Walker is our guest this week. Man, congratulations on the biopic of you're playing Randy Travis. How cool is that?
Man, it's like the coolest. When I was growing up, my grandmother used to always say, "You're my little Randy Travis."
Aw.
So I've always been a huge Randy fan. I actually think Randy Travis is the greatest country singer of all time, of all time.
Okay.
And
There's an argument for that.
we could argue over, if someone asked me what's your Mount Rushmore, I say that it's Merle Haggard and George Jones for sure, and then I put Keith Whitley and Randy Travis in there.
That's good.
But if you look at Randy Travis, if you take the perfect combination of Merle and George Jones, that's what Randy is.
Oh,
Like
that's
he is.
really, yeah, you're right.
He has all of the low end, all
Mm-hmm.
the deep, beautiful. He's a crooner, and then he also has the licks that George Jones can do.
So this biopic, when, how, all the details, do you know?
So we start shooting it in the summer, and it's being produced by the guys that did The Blind for Phil Robertson.
Yeah, the Angel Studios people.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, maybe
no,
they're
it's not.
maybe
It's
they're
not. It's not Angel. It's I'm trying to. I think it's Tread Lively and a couple other ones. But the producer and director, I met the director on a plane 6 or 7 years ago, and we talked about this. And so I got the director with Randy and Mary, and it's taken a long time to put together, but it's going to be made for theaters.
Big deal.
It's a big deal.
And what is your role in the movie?
So
or the biopic?
there's going to be 3 Randys. There's going to be when he was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then very early in his career, and then towards the middle and latter part of his career. And I'm going to play the middle and latter part of his career.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super pumped, and I've loved Randy for a long time, and we've become really close. He and Mary and myself, and so yeah, it's a dream come true. As a matter of fact, I got to pinch myself because I kept thinking it's not going to happen. I mean, there were a lot of hurdles, a lot of roadblocks, and man, here it is. It's happening.
Yeah, that's a full circle.
Do we have a
moment.
name yet?
Yeah. The name of the movie is Forever and Ever, Amen.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
We'll keep you up to date on when that comes out. Clay Walker is our guest this week. More on the way. Hang on. Clay Walker is our guest this week. Man, you had it was like a roll. I think, was it 95? This Woman and This Man was out. Yet again, another #1 song. And it was like you hit, boom, 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 boom. This roller coaster. Most artists come in, they're like, ooh, just lucky to get a top 20. And you're like back to back to back to back to back #1s.
Man, when that song came out, well, first of all, I remember when James played it for me on the bus. We were getting ready to cut the second album, and he played it in one line, and it was I said, "That's it," and he goes, "No, I want to play." I said, "That's it. That's the greatest song I've ever heard."
You got the first line into it?
First line, I said, "That's it." I said,
Wow.
"That's it." And so, James and I had some magic, early on, and it was fantastic. But one of the biggest compliments I ever got, we were at the CMA Awards, and that song had been it was in the top 20 at that time. And Radney Foster walked over to me and he said, and I'm a huge Radney fan, and he walks over and he goes, "Man, He goes, I don't think I've had a chance to meet you. He said, I'm Radney. And I said, oh, my gosh. And I was like nervous. So he says, man, he said, those first few songs, he said, I thought were really good. He said, this song, this woman, this man, he goes, just separate you. So, I mean, it was really a special moment.
Clay Walker is our guest this week, and check him out on all Instagram or all social media, including Instagram, at Clay Walker, also claywalker.com. So I got to ask you, how is it you have a house full of kids. They're everywhere. Please tell me you're putting them to work, like you're making money off of them somehow.
They outlawed that,
But their hands are so small for the little small gears.
And my kids are all my treasure. That's the way I look at it, man. My wife is Jessica is like, she's a saint, and we don't have a nanny. We have our kids, and she says nobody's going to get to have the first experience with my kids.
I love that.
I want that. So,
love that.
So we really are compatible, in that way, and the kids are they're adorable, and they love me, and 4 boys and a girl.
How do we not have a follow along TV show? The Walker.
Oh, it's coming.
The Clay Walker show. I'm serious.
The Walker Bunch. The Walker Bunch.
You've
Da, da, da.
Da, da, da. There's a woman. She's a model.
She is that, man. Every day of my life, I wake up with this beautiful girl, and it's like, wow, and at some point, you just go, I know I'm not worthy, but it's a great blessing, and the kids are they keep me young.
Yeah,
they really keep me young, and it's so funny. You don't need to have any kind of other entertainment when you have young kids.
That's full gear.
It's so funny, man. It's just, it cracks me up. I mean, like there's a laugh about every hour. That house of belly laugh.
Oh, it's the best. Clay Walker, our guest. Again, you can check out all the information on tours and what he's up to. Even post some pictures of his beautiful family on his Instagram at Clay Walker. Clay Walker is our guest this week.
I'm going to the big D and don't mean Bubba.
Hey, true or false? Alan Jackson wrote "If I Can Make a Living."
It's true. It's true. Most people think I wrote it, and I like them to think that. No, I'm joking.
Right.
Man, when I heard the demo, James Stroud had played it for me, and I was like, "That's Alan Jackson singing it." He goes, "Yeah, he wrote it," and I said, and he doesn't want to.
He doesn't want to do
put
it
out. He goes, "Man, he finished recording his album, and this song is left over," and I said, he's going to be really disappointed.
He's going to wish he made room for it.
so we named it the title of the album, and then it was a 2-week #1. So it was a big deal, Still today, when we do that song, people sing it at the top of their lungs.
Does he ever bump into you and go, "You're welcome"?
Well, he did a show in Beaumont, Texas, not too long after it became a #1 hit, and he did the song, and he said, "Hey, I want to thank one of y'all's hometown boys, Clay Walker, for recording this." And I've never got a chance to talk to him about it, but Keith Stegall, who is Alan's producer, and Keith produced a couple of albums on me. We're actually going into the studio in the next few months to start recording, and I told him, I said, I think it'd be really cool if Alan sing harmony, and I want to recut, If I Can Make a Living, have Alan sing on it too.
Oh,
yes.
cool.
Dude.
Well, you'd think he would do it, Maybe he listens to this show, he'll be like, oh, I guess I've been hornswoggled